Welcome to Kaleidoscope S4IG. Let's talk. 2022 for Sri Lanka was a watershed year. What happened in this country is something that none of us could comprehend, and maybe some of us still can't. But there were those Sri Lankans who were out of the country at that time and felt helpless and frustrated, but channeled that energy into doing something where we could all reflect on what happened in this country. And that is what Layla Gonaduwa, an interdisciplinary artist who has been showing since 2007 and has had numerous exhibitions around the world, has been doing in the since April last year. And she was exhibiting at the Barefoot Gallery where I met up with her. Layla, the work you have here, very different to what I've seen of your works before. What triggered all this?
To start with, frustration of not being here when all this was happening, to Sri Lanka, the whole crisis situation. So being sort of removed from it, but still being part of it was a very frustrating experience. It was just, I tried to get involved as much as possible, but it was still not enough. And I was working on another collection. But soon my drawings were turning into my connection with Sri Lanka, and also the fact that the last exhibition was very much part of Sri Lanka and migration, and I had traveled so much for it. Very soon the art grew into, art was inspired by my travels and what I thought Sri Lanka to be.
There was that sense of helplessness. And you also got the feeling that you needed to be here in some format.
Very, very much so. It was, there were certain things that were sort of, had me staying out. I needed to stay out. And I felt that this was the only way I could express my frustration, express my thoughts. And there were a lot of suggestions that I exhibit this outside. But I just felt that no, I need to exhibit this in Sri Lanka at whatever cost. I need people to kind of look at it and look at themselves.
But wouldn't it resonate outside, given that we were in the world news? Making headlines all the time.
We were in the world news, but I don't know. I just had this strong need to kind of show it here. A simple Sri Lankan landscape, not, at first glance, you don't see that it's very, controversial pieces of work. It's not in your face. I wanted that subtlety, because that subtlety is what also how we operate as Sri Lankans. Whatever is thrown our way, we are first very bothered about it, and then we very soon kind of, this whole defense, survival tactic, I would say, more than a defense mechanism, kicks in. And we're like, oh no, we can survive this, it's okay, and we completely ignore everything. So that's what I wanted this to be.
So I am truly fascinated by that, the largest of your pieces here, the installation. Tell me how that came to be.
I actually wanted to work with the imagery that came out of the crisis. And was wondering how well I could do this, and then even a photograph that somebody has taken, it's got a fragility, about it. And I thought, no, I'm going to cut this into strips, and if I weave this, so many different photographs, but if I weave it together, it's stronger. And I could turn it into anything I want, and I wanted another landscape. So I made a landscape, but with imagery that they had taken off the struggle.
Like you said, Sri Lankans have this way of packing everything in and moving on.
I started, I would say, in April drawing, and then by November I had this whole collection, and I was like, well, I'm going to put it out.
A big thank you to the partners on our show who are truly super. Skills for Inclusive Growth and Australian Aid, Selling Life, CDB, The Morning Newspaper and Park Street Gourmet, as well as Zip Zip. Thank you. If you like Kaleidoscope, subscribe and follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram and LinkedIn.